Mrs. Green Apple, we continue our track by track listen through to the band's first ever nationwide release. This is basically their first ever proper commercial release. I know they had the one EP before, but I can't find it, and apparently it was already sold at gigs. And we're on to the second track from this, which is a song called Nanio Nanio, which basically translates to what? What? Which is that's the way I'm imagining it in my head. I'm imagining it's going to sound much more musical, though, when I actually press play. The interesting thing about this as well is that this is only the second track. Well, it's the second track on the album, but it's also the only other track, with exception to the first one, that seems to have a proper music video. I'm really intrigued as well because with the opening track, so this EP came out in 2015, but the opening track, the music video, was from 2021 and clearly was showing their progression over the years. So this came out in 2015 when I assume they were probably still playing the live houses, or probably, they didn't have like anything like the fame they have now, whereas the video almost seemed to be retrospectively kind of showcasing all the wonderful things that happened since then, which was one of the things I loved about it. But I did wonder whether the recording, because it sounded really nice recording, I wondered whether they just had really good recording since they were back in 2015, or whether it had been re-recorded in the same way that the video was retrospective. So with Nanio Nanio, looking forward to this on a couple of levels. First of all, just continuing getting an idea for where this band's come from, considering we've been listening to, obviously, their most recent singles, and we've done the track-by-tracks of Antenna and Attitude, the two most recent albums. So I'm looking forward to getting a bit more of information as we go through this album as to the sound that the band had when they first kicked off. Also because, well, this, therefore, must be their oldest music video. Because if this is the only music video from the album that isn't recorded multiple years later, this is going to be their first music video, right? Actually, just let me check. I haven't checked. I'm assuming this is of the time. Okay, let's scroll down. Okay, yeah. So this music video came out on the 3rd of February 2015. So this was right when the album was releasing as well. Wow. Oh my God, it's got the HMV link to buy the album. I've got to see if that's... Does HMV still even exist? Let's see, does that work? Maybe not. Does Tower Records still have it? Let's see, I'm just testing out the links now. I'm so happy to see, like, there we go, Tower Records link still works over a decade later. Tower Records. God, I love it. Anyway, so yeah, that's really cool. So this is the original upload. This is the original upload from over 10 years ago. Wow. I'm excited. So yeah, I guess this is their first ever music video. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nanio Nanio, continuing our listen through to their first ever fully nationally released, nationally sold album. A mini album, progressive. Ready? Let's dive on in with this one. I'm excited. Sorry, I keep on having to sit forward to reach the mouse, and every time I do that, my head just disappears behind the screen. It's okay. You don't need to see me. It's only a reaction. Oh, loving that keyboard from the get-go. Oh, wow, this is a bit sockety. Are these the real people who worked on the video? Loving the bass. Wow, the personality in this is immediately awesome. It looks like a sort of a European movie from like the 70s or 60s or something. Is that a VW Golf? Oh wow, is that a rooftop video as well? Every upcoming band needs a rooftop video. It is a VW Golf. I am loving that kind of slightly avant-garde riff. I I am loving. I'm loving the personality oozing out of this. It's a really strong song as well. That electric Hammond organ kind of sound is so good. Oh wow, I am genuinely quite surprised by this. Created by Probably Records. All right, well, you probably got a bit of a hit there. Now this is really interesting because I guess one of the things that you really want to see when you go back to the older material from a band is also not only the fact that you want to hear kind of where they came from, but there's also a degree of experimentation, a bit of risk taking when you're that early on in your career, when you haven't quite cemented what you're going to do, or when you maybe haven't got quite the reputation for being a chart-topping band. Or, you know, it's like when you're just kind of in that place where you're just young, furiously creating, just trying. I don't know how old they were in this. I mean, they look like they're fairly grown up already when they did this, but obviously much younger than they are now. But it's that sort of era when you're just frantically creating and furiously letting ideas out. And this is nice because you can still hear that quintessential Mrs. Green Apple quality and the sort of the melody, the structure, a lot of the just a lot of the if you like, just the simple choices of melody, scale, and chord pattern. You can hear a lot of those quintessential Mrs. Green Apple signatures in this. And yet this song feels a little bit more, I like the edginess of this, in that it's kind of got a raw sound. It does sound a little bit more aggressive, the way that the guitars are a little bit more to the center, the organs a little bit more to the center. It doesn't sound so much like the modern stuff where it's much more panned, and I love the big sparse sounds that we get with the mixing in the modern Mrs. Green Apple songs. But this just kind of got that little bit more garage rock kind of, everything's a little bit more gritty, a little bit more put together, a little bit more sort of feeling like it's got that rawness to it. And that comes across really well in this. The idea of having that riff as well, that refrain, the where it's just like it actually skips the first beat. I love that again. That's the kind of edgy move that you don't usually hear in a single, especially for a beloved chart-topping band. I love it because it's kind of got that. Again, it shows the creative kind of rebellion, the sort of rebellious side of the writing that we get from Mrs. Green Apple a lot of the time. I do like the fact that there's these little ideas in there where you think that does challenge the listener. You know, I mean, again, when we talk about bands who are this popular and this well-renowned for their chart-topping ability, it's obviously, you know, part of being popular is that you have to be generally likable to a general audience, which means that you're probably not going to have too much in your sound that is so unusual that it could alienate part of the audience. So when you hear something like this where you think, okay, that actually challenges the listener, that's something that some people might find a little bit perturbing when they listen to a song. I like that because to me it just kind of shows that there is this like rebellious, edgy side that occasionally comes out on Mrs. Green Apple songs, and we've heard this on other songs, but you especially want to hear it at the beginning of their career. So I like that. I like the general vibe. As songs go, this is fast. It's got a lot of energy. It's got a lot of creativity. It doesn't quite hit the peaks of, shall we say, like really, like their more recent stuff. They tend to be very good at building up the arrangement to a final crescendo, a final conclusion. You can tell they haven't quite mastered that as much in this song. It also doesn't quite have the same level of, shall we say, throwing in random sounds that they've become so good at now. This definitely does feel like an earlier creation, but I really like this. I thought this was really fun. This is definitely a song I would come back to. The video was also super fun. I want to see them do more videos like this. This video is a good indication of what happens when you have a lot of creativity but you don't have a lot of budget. Now I don't know because they were giving like a this was obviously made to look like a like an old European movie from like the 60s or 70s or something, maybe the 80s. I was very young back then. I wasn't even born in two of those decades. But like, for example, you've got these names coming up on screen. I'm wondering, are ththese, I mean, I'm assuming these aren't actually the people involved because a lot of these are just like sort of random names. So like you've got one which is a Latin sounding name, one which is a European sounding name, one which is like yeah, just like different Asian the countries and everything. So these names all seem to just be very random. Like they're picked to have a little bit of a feeling of kind of sounding artsy. But I don't know. Are these people actually involved? Are these like random fans who got to have their name in the video or something like that? I don't know how they picked these names. And the description beneath the video, I don't think was really giving me an answer to that either. So I'd love to know where they got these names from. But you know, I mean, it even had like one of the things in there said theme tune by, which means well, you can't have a theme tune to a music video, except for the tune we're listening to, which they obviously wrote themselves. So you know, for me, this was really interesting where they were coming up with that. But the whole concept of the video, playful, silly, a little bit like artsy. Yeah, there you go, theme song. And you know, it to me it just worked because it had a lot of character, and it was nice because you got to see the band doing something silly and just having fun in that context. So yeah, I really enjoyed this as a music video. But yeah, again, it's a good example of what you do when you don't have a lot of budget, but you've got a lot of creativity. So this, to be honest, is one of my favorite music videos I've seen by the band. They are a band who I think their music videos tend to be a little bit hit and miss. Like some of them, I think are really strong and have a lot of personality and bright, and then some of their music videos, just to me, just kind of they're just like, okay, it doesn't really add anything. So for me, this is an example of a music video where it actually feels like it's got a lot of creativity. And I feel like that is probably because of the fact that this is obviously done without a budget. And so all the creative ideas just pour out. So I would like to see, I mean, especially for a band this big, I think it's nice when you see bands on this scale just sort of like go back and just do something very raw and real. So I would like to see them do that. It kind of reminds me of when we had the collaboration between Anno and Lila Sakuta from Yoasobi. They did those two music videos. So one was on the Anno's album, one was on Lilis's album. They released them at the same time, though, these two singles, near enough the same time. And one of them was a video that was very high production, very cool, very, you know, lots of graphics and stuff. And it was really good, really fun because it was over the top and silly. But then they had the video, which was for Lilis' album, which was very raw. A lot of it was filmed on handy cams. It was like the total opposite. And both of them worked in their own complementary way. And I think that was always a good example of the fact that you can have two videos on totally different scales that both work. But yeah, I don't think we get to see enough of this side of them. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I like this. Maybe when we get onto the next album, yeah, the full length album after Progressive, we'll see a little bit more of this. But I hope they got more music videos like this as well, because this was really enjoyable to me. Anyway, there you go. I am looking forward to reading the comments because I'm sure there's a lot of extra details on this that you guys are going to tell me, things I didn't know that gaps that you're going to fill in. But definitely this was a really cool one. So yeah, get in the comments, tell me what you know, what you think. The next one we'll be moving on to is the song Conflict, and then it's all these 4 album tracks all the way to the end. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what craziness we get in this one. This is going to be a ton of fun. Anyway, until we do that, from here in Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry, I'm in Korea right now. I'm in Korea right now. From here in Korea. See you on the next song. And until then, for now, ciao, ciao.